Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Nellie Harden. This is the 6570 Family Project podcast where we are building our families and our family experience and also building a firm foundation for our kids to launch the rest of their lives from within the 6570. That is 6,570 days in 18 years. So that is what we are doing here. And hopefully you have been listening for a while, but if you are new here, welcome. I hope this meets you with a huge smile on your face and warmth in your heart. I can't wait to dive into today. So I was actually going to come to episode 5, this episode here, and talk about something completely different, but that was bumped this morning because this saying came across my desk today, and I was stopped in my tracks, and I don't even know who said it or where it came from, because it was one of those things that was like a share of a share of a share, what I'm talking about. But let me read this to you, and then we're going to talk about this today. So it said, people say all the time, I die for my children. Okay, but would you live for them? Actually live. Make better choices, take care of yourself better physically and mentally. Your kids don't need you to die for them. They need you to live for them. And I was like, whoa, hit the brakes. Yes. Like, I'm just standing there with my little like picket sign saying yes to this. And so what is the mistake that we're making in here, right? We are making the assumption that loving our kids enough to be willing to die for them is in fact enough. But it's not. Let me ask you this. How often does the opportunity come around for you to die for your kids? Can I just like stand up and shout? Hopefully never. I mean, it is great, and I love that you would do that. But hopefully never that opportunity would come about, right? But how often does living for them come up? Every single day. Every single day that opportunity comes up. So have you ever heard the saying or whatever? I know when, people have kids, I know when I first had kids, and my kids are now between 11 and 16. So we are floating in that middle school, high school. Just had one that started her junior year this year, last week, actually. And then I'm still homeschooling my 3 youngest at home for one more year. It'll be our 7th year, but as I digress. So anyway, when I first had kiddos, I heard, oh, there's no book on parenting. You just got to go and you got to wing it, right? Which is true, right? There is not a book on parenting your kids. There isn't, which is why it's so important for you to write one. You need to write one. No one else can be the author of that story, right? This is you and your family, your spouse, your significant other, your kids, your story. You have to write it. So I encourage you to write the book. That's exactly what I do with my clients as we work through the what, the how, and the do over time. And we're close, and we break that down and we write the story, the parenthood, childhood, 6570 journey to get you to where you uniquely and amazingly want to go. So I want to encourage you, you can write your story intentionally, creatively, moving toward the conclusion that you have carefully constructed through every chapter on the way there. And it doesn't matter if you start to put this together and actually be intentional about it when your kid is 17 or 7. I mean, the earlier the better, don't get me wrong, but it is never too late, right? It is not too late until after that parenthood, childhood door has been closed. And those ideals, those mindsets, those things are set into cement in there, and they're really hard to break once they're set into cement. I know, I can just see all your heads shaking, right? What we learn and use and have cemented in us in childhood, right? It is possible to change. It is possible to change, but you have to take a major chisel, a jackhammer to that stuff, and it is hard work. So the question is, why not just make the cement the way that you want to make it? Build the foundation the way that you want to make it to create them in their unique success. So I want to give you a few intentional takeaways for today based on that and what that saying that hit me in the face today. So, number one, take care of yourself as a parent. Take care of yourself because you know what? You are writing the book on self-care for them. I'm going to say that again. Take care of yourself because you are writing the book on self-care for them. So, how do you handle stress, right? How do you handle disappointment, frustration, joy, right? How often are you laughing? How are you taking on things of the world and how you're feeling about them and how you're projecting them out to those closest to you and even those not so closest to you? How are you dealing with your friendships in that self-care? And then if we're really getting into it, how are you pampering yourself, right? How are you saying, good job that you are doing all of this today? Good job that you did all of this year, this month, this week, whatever that is. Is it, are you taking time to give yourself some downtime? Maybe you're getting a massage, maybe you're getting a manicure, pedicure, a faciacure, whatever you're doing. Whatever you're doing, how are you pampering yourself, right? And then, you take it to other areas. And what does alcohol look like in your family? I know you're probably like, oh, why is she talking about that? Because that's also part of self-care, right? Some people are like, oh, I need a glass of wine. I need a drink, right? And what does that tell your kid? Oh, when I'm stressed, I'm going to need a drink, right? And so when everything that you're doing for your self-care, and by the way, I am not saying I don't drink in there. I definitely do, but it is not out of necessity. It's just out of, fun and want. And on Saturday nights, we get together with some friends, but it is not I am stressed, so I need a drink. And hey, kids, this is what happens, when you do. But same with pampering, right? And just taking those breaks, your joy, your laughter, your disappointment. If you get disappointed, do you just rage, right? If you get frustrated, do you just rage? How does that look like? So, how you take care of yourself, you are writing the book on how you want them to take care of themselves later. And even now, but definitely later. Okay. So, number two is how do you care for your family? Because you are writing the book on family relationships for them. You are writing the book on family relationships for them. So how do you and your significant other, how do you talk to one another? How do you resolve conflict? How do you share intimacy, right? Have your kids ever seen you kiss, right? There is a lot of families out there that their kids have never seen them kiss. That's not in this house. I can assure you there. And not because of anything. It's just really important. In my opinion, it's really important for kids to see their parents actually communicate and get through conflict and be able to resolve conflict and be able to make up, right? And be able to just share a quick kiss and some intimacy as someone's leaving, or just because they're sitting on the couch next to each other, whatever that is. It's important. Do you and your significant other play together, have fun together? Are you true life partners together? Because you are writing the book on their future relationships right now, or you're building something in them that they're going to have to take a jackhammer to. Just being real with y'all. And so how you do that, you're writing the book. How about how you use your time, not spend your time, how you use your time with your family, right? Is there some guardrails up so it's not always in a screen, right? There you go. So you have some guardrails up so you're not maybe always in a screen. Do you have some time, some days of the week that you're like, this is what we're doing, for this week, we are focusing on family time? Do you have maybe parts of the day that are devoted to you? Maybe that's self-care, right? Maybe work time, maybe family time. How are you using your time to benefit you and how you're moving forward? And then also, how do you talk to them? How do you talk to your kids? How do you resolve conflict with them? How do you initiate new challenges and adventures with them? Right? You are writing the book. So whatever you're doing right now, that is the base and the foundation that they will have in order to launch from in their own families and their own relationships later on. So again, number one was, how are you caring for yourself? Number two is how you care for your family. And number three is, how are you caring for the world? This can get into a gray area sometimes, because so many think, oh, they're not paying attention to me, whatever. They are. I promise you, they are. And you are writing the book again. You are writing the book on the world relationships for them. So what falls into that category? I'm talking about faith, for one, everyone has faith, whether you have a faith in faith, or you have a faith in not a faith, whatever you have, it's a faith. No one is, a blank slate on this area, because you have a faith in something. And it's literally impossible to not have an opinion on this if you know that this exists. And that's a whole other podcast. But faith in whatever they're having faith in the world, right? How about political views? Huge, right? Normally, kids' political views follow parents' political views and follow this. And this is where this critical thinking really comes into play, and having those critical, critical thought discussions with your kiddos at home. It's not just, this is the way it is, and so this is, and this is how I think, therefore this is how you think, right? Actually have these discussions so they can form their thoughts and ask their questions, and even go deeper into whatever those are. What about world cultural views? Those have certainly changed over the last forever, right? And I've seen this in my own life. I'm 42, and I've seen a huge cultural world view change from when I was young, in many different cultures, right? Within the United States, outside of the United States. Some have gotten better, some have gotten worse, and it's just different. So their world cultural views, though, will definitely come from you. I still have mine from when I was a kid that, sneak into my ear, and I'm like, oh, wait, okay, yeah, I'll take some of that. Oh, I won't take some of that, right? Even if your parents are different now, it doesn't matter, because when things were being cemented into that 65-70, into that parenthood, childhood time zone, that is when those thoughts are being implanted into your mind. So how about even bring it closer to home, zoom in a little bit and say how you treat people that are serving you, like at a restaurant, right? How are you treating these people that are serving you? Or if you are a business owner, you have employees, right? Or if you have someone over to the house, an electrician, a plumber, whatever, how are you treating them? They are watching and they know. Okay. What about on the other side of that spectrum? How are you working with authority? Maybe your boss at work, or a family authority that you have, maybe a parent of your own, and things like that. How are you working with authority? Right. And then lastly in here, there's plenty of others, but the last one I want to bring up in here is, how are you caring for the environment? Right. The environment is a major issue that's only going to become an even more major issue as time goes on. And so how you are looking at and treating and respecting, or lack of respecting, or just not thinking about, or thinking about whatever that is, to the environment, they're going to adopt too. And later on, maybe when it's an even much bigger issue than it is already today, they're going to either strive to be better, or struggle with that based on what's happening right now. And so again, those were how you care for yourself, how you care in your family, and how you care in the world. So for my Family Success Vault members, there are tools in the vault right now for you, so you can use time wisely. You can discipline in a constructive way. You can teach big lessons that your kids are needing to hear, especially around judgment, judgmental, judging, all of that. All of that is in there with clarity and bringing real conversations into your home, even if I'm fine, right? Or fine has been the word of choice for the last few months or even years, right? All of that is in there for the Family Success Vault members. And listen, I know you love your kids. I know you love your kids. I know you would run in front of a car for them. I have no doubt about that. But my question is, are you also willing to live for them with every sunrise and write the book that you actually want them to read? That's my question. So that's all I have for you today, guys. It really just hit me sideways today. And I was like, oh, this definitely needs to be talked about, right? We are willing to die for them. Are we willing to live for them and write our stories with intention every single day? So, guys, I hope you have a great, great day, and happy building. I'll talk to you soon.